we like to have something, or sometimes even someone, to believe in, right? When there's a philosophy, when there's something that guides us, or when there's someone that guides us, it arouses a passion within us. It taps into our source of inspiration. It makes us feel dedicated towards a purpose, towards a cause. Now, when that happens, as humans, we're willing to go the extra mile. We're willing to do a little bit extra. We're willing to kind of do things that we wouldn't even consider doing at other times, because it's something that we really very deeply believe in, right? But when somewhere along the way we become disenchanted with that belief, in other words, we saw something one way and then we see it in a different light, that's pretty difficult, right? Sometimes when that happens, we feel foolish. We feel like we made a mistake. We let ourselves be guided astray by something. We feel like we did things that we ordinarily wouldn't do because something or someone told us that it was the right thing for us to do. And when that happens, ultimately that can result in anger at yourself. Anger at yourself is, maybe it will serve a momentary purpose. It won't serve a momentary porpoise, though. It'll serve a momentary purpose. And that momentary purpose is to motivate you. Once that motivation is set in motion towards different action, well, you don't need to hold on to that anger at yourself, because it's not going to necessarily achieve anything, right? There's just a need to, at that particular moment in time, to change one's vision or to change the path that one is following. Now, somewhere in your life, and this somewhere is going to relate to wherever the full moon happens to be falling in your horoscope, plus other factors in your horoscope. And if you want a deeper look at those particular factors for yourself, please feel free to schedule an astrological service at the link above. But somewhere in your life, there's a disenchantment that's happening. You saw things one way. You dedicated your time, your energy, your effort towards doing things that you ordinarily wouldn't do. And now you're looking at the results of your actions, right? And maybe you're not seeing the tangible results that you were hoping to see from the actions that you were taking. Maybe you placed yourself in circumstances that you ordinarily wouldn't place yourself in, and you're getting kind of tired of placing yourself in that set of circumstances. Maybe you have a belief or a way of looking at things that you're not satisfied with anymore, and now you feel like you're a servant to something that you don't necessarily want to be a servant to. In any of those instances, at the present moment, somewhere within you, an awakening is happening, right? And when we awaken, we see things in a completely new light. Now, when we see things in that completely new light, right, is that new light the ultimate truth? Ultimate truth is beyond anything that, we can latch on to for a moment, that we can dedicate ourselves to. Ultimate truth doesn't need a form to define it, right? So what ends up happening when we latch on to beliefs, right, is we're latching on to a system that we feel can guide us closer to something that is true, or closer to something that is real. Even if that's involved in something completely mundane, like taking a certain action because you're wanting to achieve something, you're putting faith in that thing that you're trying to achieve. You're putting faith in that action that you're doing because you're wanting to achieve a particular outcome, right? And then when you don't achieve that outcome, you begin to go, okay, well, maybe that didn't work. And then you work through a different layer of what the quote unquote truth is, right? Until ultimately you get past all those different layers and you're able to see the source. Such is the nature of human existence. We work through that. Those of us who seek, those of us who want to know something different, something beyond the surface, right? We're constantly seeking. We're constantly going deeper. And sometimes that's a lonely place to be in, because you will put yourself behind something in a very passionate manner because you believe that it's dharmically correct to do so. And like I was saying before, then ultimately you find yourself in a position where you recognize that that wasn't the truth. And then you begin to feel that something that you thought was dharmically correct was perhaps something stupid, right? So again, I will go back to what I was saying a moment ago, and I'm not doing it to be repetitive, right? But just to kind of touch on that again, it's not going to help you at those particular moments in time to give yourself a hard time about making the wrong choice, about backing the wrong horse, or about doing the wrong thing. That's not going to help anything at this particular moment in time. What is going to help is in going forward from this moment onward, recognizing that what you're latching onto to guide you along a certain line is just one minute fraction of reality. It's the reality that you're seeing at the moment, right? It's the reality TV series that you're being fed by the big, cosmic broadcasting station, right? And you can choose whether you want to believe that media that you're buying into or not, right? But just recognize that on a certain level, it's programming that's being broadcast. And, the reality TV series that you're catching yourself up within, right, is not necessarily real. It's something that is just appearing a certain way. And once you can see beyond that appearance, it's like if you were watching a television program, right? It's like, I'm young enough to remember that. I'm young enough to remember. I'm old enough to remember. Okay. I'm old enough to remember thinking that there were humans inside of the television set. Now, who else has thought that? Or humans inside of the radio, right? And so when you're watching that program on your television, you can look at those things and you can go, wow, there are people in there. This is this reality. This is going on. And you get caught up in that reality, right? This great big drama of existence that we're in, that too, on a certain level, is a play. It's a play where the actions that go on can impact you in a very deep manner. They can move you. They can motivate you, much like those things that you watch on your screen when you're watching, a good movie, or when you see something that really moves you. That's a drama, right? But beyond that drama is something that's completely unfathomable. So you're growing, right? Because you're growing, do you want to give yourself a hard time for waking up somewhere along the path? No. Do you want to give everybody else a hard time for not being as awake as you, right? Well, that's not really a very awake thing to do, is it? Because, everybody's going through a process of waking up. So, right now, there's a big shift that's happening. There's a big change that humanity is going through, okay? And things that appear to be one way in one moment may completely be found to be a completely different way the next moment, right? And you might be going, well, which of those things, what specific things are you talking about? Well, number one, that's going to be different for each of you because each of your lives is going to be impacted differently by what's going on. So I can't really say that for each and every one of you. And I can't say that, it's this thing. I can't say it's, your fascination with watching documentaries on TV with tigers. I can't say that it's your fascination with, watching the news and what's going on with that. I can't say that it's your fascination with sensationalistic journalism and things that you think that it's the truth. I can say all of those things, right? But that's my way of looking at things, and that's not your way of looking at things, right? And each of us is going through different layers of awakening. So your awakening is your awakening. My awakening is my awakening. I'm here at this particular moment in time because it's 7 o'clock my time, and I told myself I'd be here at this moment in time. No, I'm only kidding. I'm here at this particular moment in time because I'm here to give a message to you. So regardless of what your awakening process is or what it relates to, that's not for me to say. It's perhaps for me to help you with if I see it in your horoscope, right? But it's not for me to say on this thing that I'm doing for all parties, because I can't know it about every single one of you. I can only give you something general. But, one thing that I can say about it is it's very sacred to you. And that one thing that is sacred to you in one moment, right? And then suddenly you decide, well, that's no longer right for me. It doesn't mean that it's no longer sacred, because it was something that was sacred that guided you up to a particular moment in time so that you could go deeper with your particular process. So we need to, during these moments in time, recognize that we need less fault finding with each other, right? Whatever your path to awakening may be, even if it's counter to my path, right now, at this moment in time, I want you to do the best job with that you possibly can. That's what this is all about. That's what this full moon in Chitra Nakshatra is all about, is doing the best job. Even if doing that best job makes you recognize that you were working for the wrong boss, right? Do that best job anyway, because that's going to carry you through a deeper layer of the process. It's interesting. I was kind of noting how, everybody has this fascination with this television series that relates to some tiger trainer now. I haven't seen a single episode of it, right? And I'm not going to name the name of it. I'm just going to talk about things because it's probably the best way to do it. But interestingly enough, this full moon happens in Chitra Nakshatra, which is related to a tiger. Think also about the fact that we're all dealing with a scenario, right? Where if you put a tiger in a cage, what's going to happen to it? It's going to feel backed into a corner, right? When you open that cage for the tiger to let it free, unless you know that tiger well and you've been interacting with it, you may get attacked by it, right? So, number one, what I'm trying to kind of bring that metaphor into existence for is because right now there's probably a lot of people that are feeling bottled up, that are feeling like they're restricted to specific things and specific routines that they don't want to be restricted to. And you might feel like you're beginning to question what the cause of you doing that is, right? Or what the reason for you doing that is what I meant to say. And you may be questioning whether the sources of the information that you're getting your information from. You may even be questioning me. Hey, that's good. We'll do a really good job of doing it, right? Really question. It's good to question. It's good to question. Even if through questioning, you find that there was no need to question. At least you questioned. And at least you got to the root of things. You got beneath the surface. And when you got beneath the surface, it gave you a clearer perspective about where you wanted to dedicate your energy to. But remember, sometimes when that cage opens, we need to be free. We don't necessarily need to attack the cager. We need to be free, and we need to move on, and we need to explore our own paths, right? We're all independently interacting with each other. Somebody we call an enemy really can be our own best friend, because there's something valuable that we have to learn from them, and from an experience that's challenging that we might call our enemy. There's something valuable we have to learn from that as well. See everything that you're interacting with as we approach this particular full moon as something that's guiding you to the next step of your journey. If you've been disillusioned, disenchanted with everything that's going on, okay, so a little bit of anger is perhaps warranted. And I'm not focusing on any particular direction with this, because I'm just speaking the message of the astrology that I see. Whatever you make of it is your own personal process, and you have to decide that for yourself. But when the awakening happens, if there's a little bit of anger that you're feeling, turn that anger into action towards changing things and making a difference in the areas that you can make a difference. Dedicate yourself to each other. Dedicate yourself to helping each other out rather than finding more reasons for conflict and more reasons for differences. A belief is just a belief, okay? The truth is something beyond that. And in terms of my belief, right, who knows? Maybe at some moment in time I could find is not the truth. In my belief, we're all interconnected in that one truth. So why fight with each other when on one level we're all one and the same? It doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't make any sense to point fingers and go, this person's responsible for this person's responsible for that. What does make sense is taking action if you disagree with something and aligning with whatever you believe in and doing it to the utmost of your capacity. Even if somewhere along the line you have to make another adjustment. Hey, that's life. That's what the people say. Okay? So, everybody, I wanted to mention that if you're interested in my video courses, I am still offering my previous video courses on a pay-by-donation basis. If you're interested in that, you can follow the link that you'll see above, and it'll take you to the page where you'll see the courses that I have available. A couple of other announcements is that I'm going to be starting a fundamentals course on weekdays. You can look for more information on that You can look for more information on that on my website. There we go. I got it out. And as always, if you want to schedule a consultation with me, you can do that through the link above. That's going to do it for this look at the full moon in Chitra Nakshatra, which takes place on the 8th of April, 2020. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.